In the pit behind me are fossils from the Ice Age. They're submerged in tar. Millions of these fossils have been found in pits just like this, right here in the middle of Los Angeles, at the Brea Tar Pits. I was curious to figure out where these fossils came from, and I ended up realizing that this area isn't just bountiful with scientific discovery, it also transcends paleontology. Well, first of all, we have to get something straight. It actually isn't tar, it's natural asphalt. It's the lowest grade of crude oil. To understand where the fossils come from, we have to understand where the asphalt comes from. So we have to go all the way back in time to figure it out. Millions of years ago, Los Angeles was completely underwater. It was part of the sea, and plankton in that sea died and fell to the bottom, where under immense pressure, they turned into crude oil. Fast forward to the most recent ice age, which was about 50,000 to 11,000 years ago, that oil seeped up through cracks in the ground and accumulated in these shallow pools, tar pits. The lighter elements of the oil, which is where we get gasoline, kerosene, diesel, evaporated, and it left the sticky asphalt behind. Living creatures would wander into these pits and get stuck, and then predators would come looking for a snack, and then they would get stuck. This is why at this site there's such large carnivore representation. So essentially, some old living stuff got stuck in some old dead stuff and became soup. Back to now, there are these pools of asphalt literally everywhere around the grounds. I accidentally almost stepped in one. Sometimes they're covered with cones, sometimes they're covered with metal squares. It's everywhere. The pools will bubble up with gas, and that gas is methane and hydrogen sulfide, which makes it kind of stinky, kind of smells like tires. Around 3 million-ish plants and animals have been found here since the first excavation 100 years ago back in 1906. Once completed, the current excavation, Project 23, could potentially double that number. The collection consists of extinct and non-extinct animals such as saber-toothed cats, mammoths, giant ground sloths, camels, birds, and dire wolves, and dire wolves, and dire wolves. Like over 4,000 individual dire wolves. Oh, and one 10,000-year-old Native American woman. Her skull was found fractured, which could potentially mean that she was North America's first recorded homicide victim. But probably not. It's more likely that she died some other way, and then when she was buried, her skull fractured under the pressure of the tar pits themselves. Anyways, there are also microfossils, tiny bits of plants and animals. Before the microfossils are able to be examined, they're stored in these huge buckets, and then they have to be sorted through piece by piece to make sure they find each and every fossil. The larger fossils are also stored before they can be examined in these huge boxes. Oh, and when they were building the parking garage for LACMA next door, they found an almost complete skeleton of a Columbian mammoth. That's pretty cool. This place has so many secrets and undiscovered treasures that I feel like Lara Croft or Indiana Jones just walking around here. Maybe that's part of why I love it so much. Which leads me to the next thing that I want to talk about, why any of this even matters. From a scientific perspective, learning about these fossils gives us insight into what our planet looked like 50,000 years ago. We have so much to learn about why some of these animals went extinct, and also about past and present climate change. So, I said earlier that I think the Brea Tar Pits transcend paleontology. Let me explain. My first introduction to the tar pits was through this Crash Bandicoot game on the PlayStation 2, and in the game there's this part where you can explore this theme park attraction that's loosely fossil inspired. And as I got older, I realized that this game inspired curiosity. I became curious to learn about the past, to learn about paleontology, and this feeling of childlike curiosity is something that I've recently been taught to embrace. It's something that a lot of adults today no longer indulge themselves in. Embracing this curiosity is key to understanding yourself and your purpose. And also, this place brings my wonder tank up to full every time. Now, going bigger than that, being close to these fossils gives me perspective, something that impacts my life literally every single day. By looking into the past, you're able to take a break from your day-to-day routine and look at the bigger picture. You see, life is short, and you are potentially one moment away from just becoming a fossil like these. Like Ferris Bueller said,
life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, You could miss it.
So I encourage you to find things in your life or places like this to reignite that spark of childlike curiosity. And remember that perspective is a great tool to remind us not to take life for granted. So enjoy every single second, curiously.